Good morning. Welcome to the Bond Sunday morning services. I appreciate you being with me. You can get involved by calling the phone number that is listed on the screen there, or you can email us with questions or comments concerning today's topic. Good morning, everybody here.
Good morning.
All right, thank you guys for showing up. John, I don't need to say that anymore because it's on the screen now. So, thank you. What I want to do first, we've already talked about the anniversary, 20-year celebration of Bond earlier here, but I want to thank everybody out there for showing up. That was amazing. Everybody and their mama showed up. Also, those who didn't show up sent money to help it, sponsor the event. And thank you for that as well. I absolutely appreciate it. I don't take it for granted at all. I was thinking about the 20 years of Bond, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny, and as they were showing the videos and some of the pictures of, things that we have done, I thought to myself, it's amazing that those things have happened. It's almost like I woke up, when God caused me to wake up, I stood still and things happened. I don't feel like I lost any energy or in it. It doesn't seem as though I put any effort into those things, or it's just like those things happen. And I didn't have a plan for them, they came about. And when I thought about that, I love that way of living. There is a way of living where life doesn't drain you of energy. And so if anything, you get more energy, natural energy, and it doesn't take away your energy. And I paused for a moment and thought about it, so I'm blessed. I have a good life, I have a great life. And anybody who wants that kind of life can have it because it's inside of all of us to have that life that is apart from the world. And so once again, thank you for the 20-year celebration of Bond. I absolutely appreciate it. It turned out very well, very long. But black people do things long. And church lasts forever. When they're arguing at you, it lasts forever. White people kind of get it over with. Leave me alone! And it's done. Black people curse you out forever. But it was very, very long. It didn't seem long? Wow, you did have a lot of energy there. We were supposed to have dancing. There was a DJ there. Did you know that?
No, but I felt it.
Yeah, we were supposed to have a DJ play some dancing music, but after 1 o'clock, I don't think anyone else wanted to dance. So, but it was fun stuff. It was worth it.
I like the kids.
Very long.
The kids singing.
I'm sorry?
I like
The kids was something else.
Yeah.
That was amazing to me is that when we started Bond 21 years ago, there were no kids. Those kids did not exist. They were not thought of. Isn't that amazing? And now, not only are they here, they're like big kids. That is mind-blowing to me, to see all those kids up there like that. People getting married, and it's amazing. It's amazing what life can offer you. Isn't that something? Yes. Everybody here have a life like that, right? Life is just happening. Right? No? I'm the only one? Wow. I'm the only one. I'm the only one in this room where life is just happening.
Good or not, that's another story.
It's not good.
Yeah, I said if it's good or not,
Yeah. I won't go into that. I'll ask a question because I got to answer a question that you asked last Sunday, and that question was, can you be tempted
if you're born again?
if you're born again of God? Can you be tempted? Who asked that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, it doesn't matter who asked,
Yeah, whatever.
but what was the question exactly?
It was, can you be tempted if you're born again? And something about sinning if you're born again.
Oh, okay. Can you be tempted if you're born again, and can you sin once you're born again?
Yeah.
Right?
Mostly the tempted thing, yeah.
Mostly
And you
the
sort of answered it, but
Oh,
you
okay.
said it's for another meeting.
Oh, okay. I love that question, and we're going to pick up on it in a minute. But I want to go back. You said life is happening, but not necessarily. It's not necessarily a good thing.
It depends on the individual like myself.
Right.
It depends on how I look at it. If I hate it, judge it or criticize it, that's when things go.
And do you?
At times I find myself into it, yeah,
So you.
What was you thinking? Why do you allow yourself to get involved with it in the
All right.
first place?
So you find yourself criticizing your life,
Yeah,
and so that will make it good or bad.
yeah. because
Once you
get caught up
criticize
in
it.
the criticism.
And why do you criticize?
Because I listen to that other voice in my head, and when I really see myself in it, then that's when I come out of it. No.
Oh, okay.
I drop it right then and there.
Right.
Because there's no good come from it.
So, but you can't help at times but to criticize your life or things that are happening in your life.
A little bit of it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I allow it to happen. I allow myself to get involved, to entertain the thought.
Right.
You know.
Oh, okay. That was good to see your wife last week.
It's good for her to come.
She had fun?
Yes, the
That-
surfing music was perfect.
Does she her what?
The surfing music was perfect.
Oh, she liked that, huh?
That's one thing she'd enjoyed.
You must be married to a white woman. Does she like me now? That the event is happening, she see a better
Here
sign? Oh, she does, huh? That answered it. Let me do this really fast because I do want to get to if you're tempted or not once you're born again. How many people, your life is not good all the time? It's not good all the time. Only 3. And so everybody else's life is good. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. And the rest of you, your life is good all the time. Right? This is fellowship. I need to. The ones that didn't raise your hand, I'm assuming that your life is good all the time. Or are you dead? Because you're not responding at all. Christine, you did not raise your hand. You did. Life is not good all the time. And why? Why is that? Because after today, it will be good all the time. Why is it not good all the time?
Because just physically I can't get around.
Oh, okay. And that's a bad thing. And how did you determine that's a bad thing?
Just because the quality of my life isn't, that vibrant.
Oh, okay. Very good example. Real good example. And you, Kelly, you raised your hand too? Life is not good all the time?
I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, you did not? Oh, yeah, so life is good all the time.
For the most part, yeah.
Most part is not all the time. Why not all the time?
Occasionally, I still, and I guess this is why I didn't raise my hand, because I'm saying that it's not me, but life is not good when I get caught up in judging myself, or when I think it's me judging myself.
Right.
But I'm starting to see that it's not. And I realize that that's where like the pain comes from.
Yes.
Like I asked you a few weeks ago, where does emotional pain come from?
Yes.
And, that's when you set out the assignment for, watch yourself making decisions.
Yes.
As to what's good and bad.
Yes.
And so I saw myself making these decisions based on, society or what I think is common sense about what's good to do and what's bad to do. And I'm starting to realize that that's not true.
Right on. Very, very good. Well, did you like the meeting that we had? Me and you and your
About
brothers?
Sorry?
Me, you, and your brothers? Did that help?
Yes, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. It's good to confront life, huh?
Yes.
And just deal with it because it's not what you think when you deal with it. Mm-hmm. Good. And you say you're not, James?
Right.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Life is not good all the time.
Right.
And why not?
Because I get stuck doing stuff that I don't like and being just getting tired and disappointed with myself and with my life.
when you do things that you don't want to do, or that you don't like, you say?
And then I end up I end up like, I feel like I'm behind.
Right. I know what you mean. Wow. And you said no, one more here. You said life. Did you raise your hand if life is not good all the time?
No, I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, it is good all the time.
I'm starting to see maybe it is.
A little louder for me.
I'm starting to see maybe it is good all the time, whether it's, well, sometimes I do judge it good or bad, but I'm starting to see even the bad things that happen to me, sometimes good come out of it.
Right.
It makes me stronger, so.
And how do you know it's bad?
I don't know what I'm saying is sometimes I judge it as bad, but I don't, but in the end, it turned out to be actually a good thing.
Don't clear my throat. But I'm going to choke if I don't clear my throat. I'm not snorting, I'm clearing my dry throat. He's like, no, don't do that. Okay. All right.
God bless. I noticed I for the last like 2 weeks, I haven't been judging things,
Yes.
and it's a lot more, less stress on me.
Right on.
And my our lab died, and so I tried the not judging thing.
Yes.
It's not good, it's not bad, it's
Right.
part of life. And the doctor was like, wow, you're taking this really good. So yeah, I cried, for a little bit.
That's right.
I realized this is part of life. We're all gonna go through it, and she's not in pain, our lab, Sarah. And it was more peaceful, and I'm realizing it's how I take things.
Yes.
It's not whether it's good or bad.
Wow.
It's how I take things. So it's up to me to look at things kind of in neutral. I call it in neutral.
Yeah.
And realizing that, it's not to judge it and to let God do the judging.
That's right. And you feel much better.
Much better.
Isn't that amazing?
I feel like the weight of the world's off my shoulders.
We can go home now. Really, the meeting is over.
Yeah.
If you want to be free, stop judging. You cannot judge anything. You can't judge right or wrong. My throat is dry, I'm sorry. You cannot judge right or wrong. And the reason, probably the primary reason that people are suffering inwardly is because they're judging everything as right or wrong, good or bad. And even not even being aware that you're judging it. It's like you're so connected to the imagination, to the thoughts, which is of darkness. It is making these decisions for you about good or bad, and you take credit for it as though you're making it, and it brings on pain and hardship for you, stress and suicidal thoughts and whatever. But if you can be free just by being aware of that, you will have perfect peace, you will judge nothing, and life will work for you. You will feel no conflict within yourself, none whatsoever. And it is amazing to live a conscious life, because that's what that is. People who are unconscious are the ones who are judging everything, everybody, every issue as right or wrong. And we can't judge because we're not God. And when you judge, you're playing God. Because you don't know right from wrong. You don't know good from evil. It has to be shown to you, given to you to know. And then when you see it by way of consciousness, God's mind, there's no conflict with it. It brings wisdom, it brings understanding rather than destroys you. But most people don't believe, that when you hear that, how can you live a life without judging life? We're so addicted to judging. But people who are judging are unhappy people. Let me take her hand first and then here and then I come. Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest points around that is, people see it's wrong to judge, but they think of judging as towards other people,
Right.
this person's worse than I am or better than I am, and You know, like that's kind of more obvious, like the Christian non-judgment. But I think the more subtle thing is like what we deem as common sense. Like it's good to eat healthy every day. It's good to exercise every day. Like, and you just accept that.
Yeah.
So when you don't do that, you know, it's so easy to get down on yourself, and you think it's good to do that. Like this is good judgment. You know?
Right.
If I don't judge myself in this way, I'll never get it right. But really, that's the thing that's trapping you into it.
Yes, ma'am.
You know? And that also applies to like work. Like,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not productive. I didn't do as much as I should have. I wasted that hour on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, I'm less than. And then you're like, okay, this is good. I'm getting down on myself for this. So next time we get
That is such a good example. Simple things like that condemn you when you judge them. Even with the eating thing, you know, right now I'm trying not to eat a lot of sweets. And so last night I ate some cookies. Only two. And my mind wanted to tell me, oh, now you're gonna get fat again. You know, having energy. But I just watched it and I have no conflict about it. But had I gone along with those thoughts like that, I would have been thinking, wow, I feel awful. I can't believe I did that. Now I got to work overtime next week.
Yeah.
But little things like that, people are judging as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's one of the issues that's caused me the most pain again and again and again. And, you know, I just finally started, like, looking at it. And one day last week, I think, you know, I ate too much something bad for me. And, like, I was feeling all this pain about it. I'm like, gosh,
Yeah.
this just really isn't worth it. And, you know, that's what really kind of drove me to try to get myself, like, well, not try, but I just kind of sat still. And I realized that the pain disappeared, like, when I was, like, in the moment. Like,
Yes.
it made me want to just be done with the pain. So,
That is something else. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and there's a show on TV called the Glenn Beck Show, and we were talking about it, and the friend said, oh, he sounds like a preacher. And I said, oh, yeah, he does. It's like he has a ministry. And my friend said, well, I like everything that he talk about, but I don't like watching him because he sounds like a preacher. And I'm thinking he judged that situation. Isn't that amazing? And so that one thing have turned him off from maybe getting some good information. But that's what judgment would do to you. We cannot judge. We absolutely can't judge. I'm working with a guy right now who is down and out, and he can't really get out of his situation because he has judged his past. You know, in the past he had a great life when he thought was a great life, and then things changed. You know how things are always changing. And now the great life is not there. Now he's out of it because his mind locked into what was happening then, and he judged it as really, this is good life, not realizing things are going to change. And now the mind is locked in the past, and he is not able to move forward with the present. Because in this world, nothing stays the same. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir.
Nothing stays the same. Relationships are not the same. What you think, what you do, the way you act, where you live, whatever, everything is changing. And if your ego, your mind have judged this moment as a good moment, and when this moment changes, you're going to be locked in this moment and can't move forward with life. Now you become a drug addict or something because you got all this resentment, but not realizing that you've judged this moment as a good moment. You can't do that. You just have to live. And then you can move with life without the conflict, without being held back. And a lot of people are stuck in that last moment because they judged it as a great and good life. Isn't that amazing?
yep.
It's so simple, but no one is talking about it. Then you end up going to see a psychiatrist and paying $200 or $300 an hour, and they make you come back for a year and take all your little money, and they still don't help you, and then they put you on a pill. Where if you stop judging, you can be free just like that. Even little simple things you cannot judge. You know, like I did the show the other night, of course you want to have time to say more, but that's not the reality of how it is. So you get there, you say what you have to say, and you move forward and have no regrets about anything. Just live that moment so that you'll be ready for the next moment. But don't judge that moment. Isn't that amazing? I love this. It is so easy to live when you really understand what's going on. All right, I'm gonna move faster. Yes, ma'am.
Another thing I noticed that's more subtle is expectation.
Yes.
Which I would base like, I haven't been overreacting or doing this or doing that, and I've been meditating. So tomorrow's going to be better, and
Right.
vice versa. Like, if I think I mess up or whatever, I judge that I mess up, like, oh, tomorrow's going to be terrible. And I started actually like standing still and watching. I'm like, yesterday I thought, this day was going to be terrible, but it's great,
That's right.
Either way, it's
That's
very
right.
subtle. Like,
It is.
expectation can keep you from changing.
Never, ever, ever, but never, 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 ever, never, never, ever, as long as you walk this earth, have expectations. Never, ever, it's a setup. If someone gives you their word that they're going to do something, just wait and see. And then if they don't do it, fine. If they do, fine. But if they give you the word and you expect it, you're going to be mad, you're going to be angry, you're going to be whatever if it doesn't work out. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir.
But if you just wait and see in life, then you're never upset, mad, and carrying on. You will always have perfect peace. Isn't that like simple when you think about it? Yes, it is, Jesse. Real simple.
Yes, it is.
Real simple, Jesse. Very good. Never have expectations. Just live your life. Come on. It's the imagination that causes all this stuff, living in your thoughts, because you're living in darkness. And it is what's setting you up to have a terrible life, where in reality, you're already free. You're already free, but you're living in this dark world of your imagination, and you don't know that you're free. You're living like slaves. And your condition, Christine, you mentioned, well, I can't move about. If you didn't have any opinion about that and just accept reality of it without being good or bad, there's a lesson in it for you. There is growth in it for you. You can overcome it. But if you put a judgment on it as a bad thing, then it's just going to bring you down, because there's no light in that to give you life. But without expectation and without judgment, there's life within you that can give you a better place. But you got to get rid of this thing, well, this is a bad thing. It is what it is, but don't judge it. That make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So you got to rise above that. Well, you don't have to, but I recommend you rise above that this situation is a bad situation. Just watch it and let it be what it is, and things will start to change for you. And whatever happens, you can accept it with joy. But if you judge it, I'm telling you, it's just going to bring you down. Every high leads to a low. You could be, in your imagination, you could be happy with one thing, and somebody can say one word to you and bring you down just like that. Bring you down. Just like that. And that's not the way you have to live in life today, because Christ came and set us free from that. He turned everything around so we could just simply live. But people are still lost in their anger, in their imagination, and they're suffering unnecessarily. You don't need to be suffering. What it is, if you're not living in your imagination, there is nothing to hold on to. It's like you have nothing to hold on to. You don't have your little judgments and your little happy moments and your little sad moments and your little that and that to hold on to, because you realize, you can see that it's not you. You're not this God that you think that you are. And so there's nothing to hold on to, because you're not judging yourself and others. You're not feeling good and bad. You're not going with all that. But it's a great way to live. It's called living by faith. You're just so addicted to relying on the imagination, relying on the ego, relying on playing God. You got to be in control of everything. But if you want to be peaceful, you got to let all that go. You really have to let it go. Then you can have faith to just live your life. And it's interesting, too, because when you live without the imagination, living in the imagination, life just unfolds for you. It is better than anything that your imagination can plan for you. It's like when we were doing the event last Saturday, people were asking me before Saturday, are you worried about it? Are you worried about how it's going to turn out? I'm like, no, whatever happens, it's just going to happen. I have no idea how this thing's going to turn out. But the imagination would want you to plan how it's going to turn out. You got to live it out before it even happens when you live in your head. And then if it doesn't go the way that your imagination told you that it would go, and most of the time before it happened, the imagination is going to make it good. It's going to turn out well. And then when it doesn't go that way, now you're tripped out. You're depressed, you're angry, you feel like nobody cares about you. And that's how it set you up. But if you could just wait and see in life, there's no up and down in life. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
This is where your freedom is. You got to come out of your head. You got to come out. The Bible says, so as a man thinketh, so as he is. You got to come out of that. Because whatever you think on is what going to mess up your life, destroy you from within. You got to rise up. I was telling Pat yesterday that it's amazing to live a non-judgmental life. To just live life. And the more I teach it to you guys, the more I'm learning from it as well. And it just causes me to be even more aware, not to judge anything. And it's amazing how that is. It's like, I want to say the word miracle, but that's not even good enough for it. There's so much peace and freedom in that, living that way. To be conscious, to live a life of consciousness, one mind of God, is absolutely amazing. And that's why I said, too, when you wake up, we talk about the thing that causes us to fall into darkness is our parents, for the most part. Not all the time, but for the most part. As little children, we end up resenting our parents, especially our mothers, because she's the one that's closest to us, and because most mothers are so insecure, angry, and emotional, they pass that on to us, taking away this life that we are now trying to come back to, this life of non-judgmental, just living your life. They take away your innocence, and you fall into that. And then you suffer until you're about, 190 from that judgment. But once you stop judging them, that's when you can go free. That's when you go back to living and thinking as a child would live, trusting this consciousness, which is the mind of God, and not your imagination. Because when you stop resenting, you're going to come out of your imagination. But you would never, ever come out of it as long as you're judging. Resentment is judgment. Resentful people are always judging. They always have this false idea of how life should be. You see it in the Christian community. The Baptists are judging the Catholics. The Catholics are judging the Mormons. The Mormons are judging the whatever, and the whatever judging. Everybody's religion is better than the other one. But it's all a lie. It's all a setup. That's why God said we should worship him in spirit and in truth. Because when you're worshiping him in spirit, you see that you don't own anything. You can't claim ownership for consciousness. But the moment you get into something like a religion or a relationship, you claim ownership then. And if that person or that religion don't act the way you want them to act, it's over. All hell break loose. Have you noticed that? Because this person is not acting the way you want them to act. I thought you loved me and now you're not showing me any attention. I'm tired of showing you attention. The romance is over. The newness is gone. And when you do get those kind of feelings, don't worry about them. They don't mean a thing anyway. Because now when you feel the pain of depression or fear or doubt, now your focus is on that. Don't focus on that. It doesn't mean anything. Just stay aware and it'll work itself out. It really will. But if you get all into it, why am I depressed? Why do I feel this way? All you're going to do is build up a false savior for yourself that's going to let you down again. It's not going to work. It's best to just live, playing God, judging everything. Because now that you feel something, if it feels bad, now you got to figure out why you're feeling bad and judging that too. And then if it feels good, now you got to figure out why you feel good so you can hold on to this good feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's still judgment. It's all playing God. It's a lack of consciousness. You got to rise above that. Rise above the imagination. Come into the light, and you shall be free. That make sense? Yeah. Did you have your hand?
Oh, earlier, I was thinking about when you said even small judgments matter. Even when I was at the party, I made a judgment against you, maybe because of the surfing music.
You always judging me. She judged me more than my mama.
I had it in my mind. I said, I think he really is a house nigger. I'm sorry.
A house what?
You remember when I called you that?
A house nigger?
House Negro.
Negro, because all the white people there? Huh? Oh, the surfing music. Oh, because of the music, the white music. You said maybe I am a house Negro?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me get it clear. Let me straighten this out. Yes, I am a house Negro. Now you don't have to judge anymore. Now you don't have to judge anymore. Amazing. Oh, it's going to be all over YouTube. I admit, I am a house Negro. If this is what a house Negro feel like, keep me in the house. Don't let me go back in the field. I'll come back to you. I got to get to these folks who've been waiting for a while. I think Susan, go ahead.
I was going to say that I didn't raise my hand. I'm surprised because it's taken me so long. And if anybody's older and they think they'll never get it, well, you will someday if you
That's right. That's right.
If you endure. But I was going to say that I'm just seeing how judgmental of myself I was.
Yes.
I have done the dumbest things in the last 2 weeks. I've lost my wallet, I lost my pink slip in my car, I lost notary stuff, I lost my everything.
Your hearing aid?
And I'm just, I mean, I don't know why it's happened.
Yeah.
I'm just dealing with it, and before I would have gone, I would have gone into I would have said, oh, this is because of this, and you did that, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just dealing with it.
Good.
So I am changing.
That's why it's good to be alive,
Yeah.
because as long as you're alive, you have a chance to overcome.
Yeah.
It's good to be alive.
I can't believe it's finally happening because it took me a long time.
Yeah, that's all right. Better late than never.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would say this thing about the judgment, I mean, it helps to hear it, and it's nice to remember that, we're not supposed to judge, but it's interesting how when you say it, the mind can actually, like when Kelly said the expectation thing, it's like your mind can actually tell you, okay, well, next time you got to know not to have expectations, but it doesn't really work that way.
Right.
So what I realize is, I'm seeing, how judgmental and all these things, and you see all these things that quote unquote are bad. That's all we can really do is just see the things about ourselves that we do judge, because from you telling me right now, it's not going to change. My mind is telling me, okay, you know what? Don't judge. Don't have expectations.
Yeah.
But in reality, the only thing that's going to change it is me seeing that I am a judgmental person and I do have expectations. But my question is, how does a person get that way? Why is it that when we start seeing those things, our mind labels them as negative? In other words, you see a judgmental person or you see an angry person, where does that come from? That label that is negative.
It comes from sin. It comes from hating your parents first. The moment you start I mean, we kind of inherit a little bit of it anyway because of the Adam and Eve syndrome thing, but it really comes from hating your parents while you're growing up. You start to resent the way that they are. You know, you start to resent the fact that your parents are not patient with you, or they impose their lives on you, or they try to, they make you feel like you're never good enough. You gotta get an A, you gotta get an A. If you don't, you're just not good enough. They start judging you, but you start resenting that. And when you resent that, you fall away from the light, from this consciousness that kids have, into the darkness, because you become like what you resent. So you escape, you try to survive by going into your head. And you start creating a false life in your imagination in order to survive what's going on in your home as little kids. That's where it really starts. And so that's why God said, before you can enter into the kingdom within, you got to forgive. And so the only way that you're going to get to this point, and you're right, just by me telling you guys about it, is not going to do it. Even if you try to remember not to judge, you're still going to judge. Because you can't do this of yourself. It's a spiritual thing. It's a battle between good and evil, right and wrong. It's spiritual. And so what you got to do in order for it to happen naturally without your efforts is that you got to forgive. Whomever it is that you resent, whether it's yourself, your dad, your mother, the cat, the dog, or whatever trauma that happened in your life, you got to forgive those people for doing that to you. Then you can enter into this consciousness and it will happen on its own. That's the only way it's going to happen. Because some people do try to do what I tell them to do and it doesn't work. They're still not happy. Because you cannot do this on your own. You can't even remember to do it because you're living in darkness. Even if you try to remember to be conscious, somebody could walk up to you and say the wrong thing and all your little remembrance of consciousness is gone. You're cursing them out or judging them just like that. But when you don't have any iota, any bit of anger at all, you naturally live a conscious life, so you're not judging yourself and others. You must be born again. You need a new nature. And it's already at hand, it's right at hand. You can have it just like that. It doesn't take but a blinking of an eye. But you gotta rise above your anger. You got to see who you really are so that you can forgive and enter into this kingdom of heaven within. Isn't that amazing? Yep. It's so simple that there are no words to explain it. That's why I say be still and know the truth. You got to calm down, be still, so you can see yourself. You can see that not you, this thing that's made a home in you and control you by way of your anger. You can't control anger. You got to overcome anger. Anger is a spirit that's made a home inside of you that came when you were a little kid, judging your situations, the pressure that the adults put on you, the schools, the whatever. Isn't that amazing? Yep. Uh-huh. Did that help?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that I'm listening to the tapes and I don't always get
the prayer?
Yeah, but I
Yes.
still listen to it because I feel that there is benefit in it. But later on in the day, it'll come to me. Like the mind knowledge and the heart knowledge will connect. So, for example, when I was at this place with my girlfriend eating, there's this lady, and in the end it reminded me of me. But she was really angry, and she goes, you know, you almost hit me when you came in the parking lot. And before I'd be like, no, I didn't, blah, 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 blah. And I said, oh, okay.
Yes.
And I like, wow, it didn't affect me.
That's right.
Then she put a note on my car.
Yeah.
And it still didn't affect me.
That's what it's called. That's the definition of being tempted by the devil. Someone want to know, can you still be tempted once you are quote unquote saved?
Yeah.
Yes. You can still be tempted, but you have the consciousness to resist the temptation.
It was almost unconscious because I just said okay, and I'm looking at me like, who said okay? You just said okay. You don't say okay.
That's right.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, and it also brought me back, the Lord reminded me of like when I was a teenager, because I had really good parents. So for me, it didn't happen from my parents.
Right.
When I was a teenager, I was so free.
Yes.
Like, how would I always tell my friends, like, they go, you want to go drinking? I go, I'll bring my, cookies and milk, and you can have your beer.
Yeah.
Like, to parties, because
That's
I was
right.
on a natural high, because, I don't know, God just blessed me with great parents and a good
Right.
childhood. So I never, was depressed or anything. And then the situation at work happened, and that's when it all happened to me.
You
But-
judge that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God brought that flashback of, look, when you were a teenager, you didn't judge, you didn't have any,
Yep.
negative feelings, you didn't have any trauma, and you were free.
Yep.
And then yesterday, we were at some place, and I went in the bathroom, and it said closed, but I had to go to the bathroom really bad, so the lady yells at me afterwards, goes, didn't you see the sign closed? I said, oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I just had total
Beautiful.
peace. And they don't say anything back because you're agreeing with them.
That's right. There is no argument.
No argument. I said, yeah.
And fools cannot argue by themselves.
Right. I noticed that.
They need someone to argue with them.
Yeah.
But if
that
you're
was
not-
like me. I mean, that was just and it just comes out. Like, I don't even think about it.
Yes.
It just comes out.
It just is.
It is.
Right on. That is cool.
Yes.
Stay with the prayer.
I will.
Just the calmer you become, the more you overcome the world, you become a free person. You really, the moment you let that resentment go, you can enter into this consciousness that I'm talking about and live your life. And I'm telling you, it is a perfect way of living.
And when Obama came this week and the traffic and all that, I'll get mad for a second and then I'll let it go. So it isn't like da 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 da. It's just 1 second, and it's then the Lord comes in and says, okay, let it go. I got him. I said, okay.
Kelly, what do you think about all this?
I think it's very interesting.
Is it helping at all? Does it make sense? You disagree with any aspect of this?
No, I'm just trying to take it all in.
Oh, okay. Do you understand about anger and stuff like that?
I think so.
Do you have anger?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, everybody does. That's
Yeah.
what we're trying to overcome. And do you know where your anger comes from? How did you become an angry person?
No, not really.
You don't know?
I never really thought about it.
Yeah. Did you know it was an issue in your life before today?
No.
You thought it was cool being angry?
I mean, I guess I never really thought that I could change it.
Oh, you didn't think that it could change? You knew you had it, but you didn't think that you could overcome it. And why is that?
I guess just because I never thought about it.
Yeah. Now that you hear about it, what do you think about it?
I think I'd like to try and put it into my life and see what I can do about it.
To overcome it? Yeah. The key to overcoming it is to admit that you have it and then forgive whomever it is that you are resenting, whether it's yourself or your parents or some guy or whatever. If you can forgive them because they could not help themselves, just as we can't help ourselves, then you can be free from it. You have to just realize people cannot help themselves. They did the best they can do. It wasn't right, but something caused them to do what they did. And it doesn't make it right, it just set you free from it. That makes sense? All right. Stephanie, you had your hand?
No.
Do you have your hand, sir?
I did.
With your shiny shoes?
Shiny shoes.
I like shiny shoes. Go ahead.
You're welcome. The only way you can overcome this judgment, you can't really stop it yourself. Because I used to have a problem with that, and you can't stop it. The only way you can stop it is to be born again. You have to die from it, and you have to suffer through it. And temptation doesn't stop, will never stop. It doesn't stop until you're dead. And Moses was tempted, Job was tempted all the way to the end, but they got to a point where it didn't affect them. It didn't.
Yeah, once you overcome that anger, you enter into this mind of God that I'm talking about. When people try to, the example you gave, when people try to upset you or control you or lie to you or whatever they do, you are being tempted. But because you can see the tempter before he overtakes your mind, you're able to let it pass.
It's a good thing.
Because you can see him coming.
it's a good thing for you to be tempted because it kind of makes the steel inside of you stronger. It's what Christ had to be tempted for 40 days and 40 nights, food and water. Satan tempted him 24 hours a day. And it just confirmed what Christ already knew. It made him more closer to God, because the tempter that tempted Adam caused him to fail, but the second man.
Well, I don't know if it's good for you or not, but I do know your meaning. I just know that when you wake up and you overcome your anger, you're going to be amazed that you don't now you don't give into it anymore. You know, that's how you're gonna recognize that this change has taken place within, because the things you used to give into are just easy to let pass now. And you're like, wow, that's great. Normally I would be upset about that. Normally I would overreact, or normally I would do this or do that. It's amazing that I'm not doing that anymore. That's how you know the change has taken place, because you're not giving into the things by resenting them or judging them anymore. That has changed. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
So I don't know if it's a good thing, but that's how you know you have changed.
But the good part is, I mean, it's not me saying it's good. It's because you're picking sides. Am I going to believe, when the temptation comes, am I going to believe my circumstances, my position, or am I going to believe what's true, what I know is true in my heart? And that decision is being made. And if you pick your circumstances, then you fall. But if you pick your what you know is true in your heart, what is that saying? Not believing it's not my will, it's thy will, while you're going through it, then that's the side, you know, that a Christian, a Christ-like man, a Christ-like person is supposed to be on.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that's the good side.
But let me, not to demean what you've said, I'm a little concerned about certain words like pick. You know, if you pick sides, you can't really pick a side. Because, and the reason I want to destroy that word in this particular conversation, because Christians will go out and try to pick righteousness. They'll say, well, you know, I'm gonna decide to do right on this issue, but not the next issue, right? You can't pick it.
Right.
It has to happen. You
have to observe, like you observe life, just like you observe the situation, you watch it, and then that part will, just by watching it, and whatever it happens, then you'll see that was true. It's not really picking, but I mean, I don't have any other word in my head that I can use.
Yeah, you're using the right word, but they're making me nervous. Because I know how the mind works now. I've learned over 20 years, you can say things and people who are listening, their minds go to work just like that. That word pick will stay there, and they'll be trying to pick the right things not to react to. Salvation comes, even this way of living, you really don't have anything to do with it. It's a spiritual change that is cost in your life. God make it happen. It's like there's nothing in your effort that you can do to make this thing happen. Long story short, and because of time, 21 years ago, it happened to me, and it happened in a way that I didn't know could happen. I saw myself, and in that very moment of seeing myself, I would change, just like that. And I was spiritually changed, and it caused me to wake up and see life in a way that I didn't know that you can see life, where you don't have to pick and choose, and you don't have to worry about missing the moment. You don't have to worry, because you enter into another reality, and you just naturally live from that live from the light. Just like you're living from the darkness, because you didn't choose to live or pick to live from the darkness. You just didn't know how to handle the traumas, the things that were happening to you, right? So you caved in by resenting the situation. Well, you can't choose to come out of it. You just have to see that you're wrong. You can see that you're not God. You can see that you're a sinner. And then you can change. It's a spiritual change that takes place without your effort. And then you start to just, the awareness that I'm talking about too is not a pick and choose thing. It just, you're walking by the light. It's like when the sun is shining, You're not deciding if the cloud going to be over the sun or it's going to be a bright, sunshiny day. That's how this spiritual life is.
The awareness I was talking about is, you see a small child, a baby, the baby is aware, the baby kind of sees. I mean, you can kind of see it. I mean, it's hard to say that I'm looking to see something in the child, but you can tell that the child is very aware of his surroundings and everything. That's the kind of awareness that we should have. That kind of awareness.
Yeah.
Judgmental, non-picking sides and stuff like that, but I don't have any other word.
Right. I just want to not, because people pick up words, and because we've been taught words and meaning to them, I now know that the devil uses that to define everything that's being said. And so that's why I didn't want to have the pick thing.
But until you're born again, you can't. You got no choice.
Right. You got to forgive.
I think a lot of it for me was releasing my power, releasing my will, releasing
Your false power,
my
because
control,
yeah,
my false control.
yeah, because we are not in control of anything. If you're an angry person, you're controlled by the spirit of darkness. You're controlled by the lie. If you're a forgiving person, meaning that you have no anger at all in your heart, then you're controlled by the light. You're controlled by the truth. We are not in control of anything. But judgmental people think that they are in control. That's why they judge, because they're God and they're in control. And God giveth and God taketh. You don't act like what God wants you to act like, He's going to take it away from you. The judgmental folks. They'll even take your religion away from you if you don't act the way that you're supposed to act in that religion. Even the Christians, have you noticed, can't even hang out with the sinners because the sinners are not acting right. And so they're judging the sinners. And I'm not going to sit at the table with you and you're drinking a beer. That's what the Christians do. They're judging the poor sinner that's drinking the beer. And then they go sit at the table with someone who's drinking coffee. Now they're judging the coffee maker because the drinker, because he is putting too much sugar in his coffee. Or too much cream in the coffee. Or the coffee is too hot. When I first woke up, I did not want to sit with the Christians because they judged everything I did at the table. Are you going to eat that? I can't believe you put honey in your coffee. They judge. I'm like, leave me alone. Let me have my life. But that's what prideful, judgmental people do. But they think it's right. It's amazing. And I want you to know that as long as you're judging, you're never going to be happy. You can't judge, you're not God. Yes, ma'am.
And you don't resent what you see about yourself. When you do, I used to, when I saw that I did something wrong, I'd resent.
You can't judge anything. Yeah.
And in fact, I can remember when I changed. I changed overnight. And I remember it was a decision I made that I couldn't not do the right thing. I made a choice, and I saw that I couldn't help but give in to these people. I gave in to somebody, and I didn't really want to, and I hated myself,
Yes.
judged myself, and after that, I couldn't make a right decision to save my soul. Every decision.
It's such an important point.
Because what?
That is a good point.
And that was a judgment.
Yes.
I guess I just judged everything I did after that, and I don't know.
Yes. Again, you reminded me of something. I was talking to another friend, and I realized what's holding my friend down is that they don't speak up for themselves. And because they want to be liked. But then they get angry at themselves for not speaking up, and then they get mad at the person or people that they can't speak up to. It's just one thing leads to another one. And so I said, look, you got to start speaking up. Just speak up for yourself. You'll feel better. And then eventually you can work out this hateful thing because they don't want to hate either, but they're hating not being able to speak up. You got to start speaking up, but don't resent. You have to. You're never going to be free if you can't speak up and not resent. Because you can, some people are speaking up, but they're hateful people and they're still unhappy. You got to drop the resentment. It's not just about speaking up either. It's about not hating yourself and others. That's where your freedom is, when you can give up the anger. Very good point. You know, Dad, I saw you a while back, and it's been so long.
Well, what I was going to say has been covered in the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Miss.
So I know resentment is a sign that you fall in judgment, but what about entertaining a thought? I had a situation happen yesterday. It was really, I could have took it the wrong way, but the judgment came. It was like a cloud just came in. So that, he meant to do this.
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily feel. I don't think I felt resentment. But
If you were
entertain a thought, is that what?
If you were entertaining the thought, you were resenting. That's why you're entertaining. Because you want to get all the life out of it that you can possibly get. This old mean person, they meant that. They knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah, that's why you entertain it.
Like a question, like,
No,
it could
that's
have
not.
either way,
That's you and the devil having a good time hating. Yeah, that is party time.
Right.
When you entertain a thought, you're partying it up, getting all the joy you can, hating other folks.
All up in it.
When you are not angry, that's what it means to resist the devil when he tempts you. Because when you're not angry, he's coming at you with those kind of thoughts, you let them go. You can't even entertain a thought if you're up.
Like for 2 seconds.
No. It can't even enter into your imagination. If you want to overcome this, you got to get to know yourself. I recommend that you could have it free. Get a copy of my prayer CD that shows you how to calm down so the truth can take over your life. Call my office at 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663. All right, thank you for tuning in, and thank you guys for coming as well.